There is something that is killing you, and you don't even know it. Every time you try too hard, every time you chase, every time you try to prove your worth, you are confirming exactly the opposite. And the worst part is that you think you're doing the right thing. They sold you the lie of romance, the fantasy of Prince Charming, the idea that love is earned through dedication. False. Love is conquered with distance, with mystery, with the ability to maintain control without anyone noticing that you have it. And here's the brutal truth. While you're there, begging for attention, validating every message, available 24 hours a day, there's another guy who barely replies, who disappears for entire days, who never asks for anything and receives everything. Do you know why? Because he understood something you keep denying. Desire isn't born from presence, it's born from absence. Machiavelli wrote it 500 years ago, but nobody applies it. He said that real power isn't in what you show, but in what you hide. The one who reveals all his cards loses the game before it begins. And in relationships, it works the same way. When you give everything from the beginning, when you become predictable, when she knows exactly what to expect from you, the game ends. Not because you're bad, but because you stopped being interesting. Attraction isn't logical, it's psychological. It isn't built with kindness or availability. It's built with tension, with uncertainty, with the feeling that there's something more beneath the surface. And that, my friend, requires that you learn to shut your mouth and walk away when everyone else stays. Now, here's the problem. They taught you to be good. They told you to be honest, transparent, to communicate your feelings. And yes, all of that sounds nice in theory, but in practice, it's a disaster. Because when you communicate everything, you lose the mystery. When you're too available, you lose value. It's brutal, but it's real. Think about this. How many times have you seen a man chase a woman with messages, calls, constant attention, only to watch her get further and further away? And how many times have you seen the guy who barely responds, who appears and disappears, keep that same woman completely hooked? The difference isn't in looks, money, or personality, it's in attitude, in the ability to maintain control without seeming controlling, in knowing when to advance and, more importantly, when to retreat. Machiavelli understood the power of perception. He knew that reality matters less than the image you project. And in relationships, this is key. It doesn't matter how much you value her in private. What matters is that she is never completely sure of it. Sounds manipulative, doesn't it? But it's not. It's simply understanding how human psychology works. Humans value what they don't have guaranteed. When something is always available, it loses relevance. It's the law of supply and demand applied to desire. If you're always there, if you always respond, if you always give in, you become something common. And the common doesn't create desire. It creates comfort. And comfort kills attraction. So what's the solution? Learn to disappear. Not physically, but emotionally. Be present without being completely available. Create spaces where she wonders what you're doing, who you're with, why you haven't replied. And no, this isn't being toxic. It's simply not becoming an emotional slave. Because that's what happens when you're too accessible. You become her emotional validator, her safety net, the guy who's always there when she needs him, but who never creates that spark of uncertainty that keeps the flame alive. The man who understands this doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't beg, he waits. He doesn't explain, he acts. And here's the part that hurts. You've probably been doing everything wrong. You've been the good guy, the understanding one, the one who listens to her problems for hours, the one who always has time for her. And meanwhile, she's thinking about someone else. Why? Because that other guy has something you don't: emotional distance. He doesn't get involved too fast, he doesn't get attached quickly, he doesn't put all his chips on one table. And that, unfair as it sounds, generates attraction. The psychology behind it is simple. The human brain is designed to chase what it doesn't have. When something is easy to get, the brain discards it. When something requires effort, uncertainty, risk, the brain pursues it. That's why the man who masters this dynamic never reveals everything. He never shows all his emotions. He never becomes completely predictable. He keeps layers. There's always something more to discover, always a part of him that remains hidden. And that is what creates fascination, because the human mind cannot resist an unresolved mystery. The problem is that most men are so afraid of losing her that they give themselves away completely from the beginning. They reveal every insecurity, every desire, every plan, and at that moment, the game ends. Because there's nothing left to discover. Machiavelli also spoke about the importance of not depending on anyone. He said that the one who depends becomes weak. And in relationships, this is fundamental. When she feels that you depend on her for your happiness, your validation, your self-esteem, she loses all respect. Not consciously, but she does. Because no one respects the one who crawls. No one values the one who begs. And even if they tell you otherwise, even if they sell you the idea that vulnerability is attractive, the reality is different. Vulnerability is attractive only when it comes from someone strong. When it comes from someone weak, it only creates pity. So how do you build that strength? By not showing neediness, not chasing, not filling every silence with words. Learning to be comfortable with distance. The man who can be alone without feeling empty is the man women pursue, because that man doesn't need anyone to feel complete. And that self-sufficiency, that emotional independence, is magnetic. It's the difference between the man who begs for attention and the man who receives it without asking. Now, this doesn't mean being cold or cruel. It means having control over your emotions. It means not reacting to every provocation, not falling into her games, not becoming an emotional puppet. Women test constantly. They throw hooks to see if you bite. They ignore you to see if you chase. They create drama to see if you feed it. And the average man falls for every trap. He replies instantly. He chases when ignored. He gets hooked into every argument. And with every reaction, he loses more power. The Machiavellian man doesn't bite the hook. He doesn't chase when ignored. He doesn't feed the drama. He simply withdraws. And that withdrawal, that strategic silence, is more powerful than any word. Because when you withdraw, she is left with doubt. She wonders if she messed up, if she lost you, if she should have acted differently. And at that moment, the power shifts. You're no longer chasing, you're being chased. You're no longer begging for attention, you're being sought. And here's the secret no one tells you. Women don't want a man who is always available. They want someone who has his own life, his own goals, his own priorities. Someone who values them, yes, but who doesn't put them above everything. Because when you put yourself beneath her, when you make her the center of your universe, you lose your essence. You become an extension of her, not a complete man. And that, unconsciously, creates rejection. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved. And although relationships aren't about fear, they are about respect. Respect isn't earned by being nice, it's earned by being strong. And strength isn't shown through words, but through actions, through the ability to say no, through the ability to walk away when something isn't right, through the ability to maintain your standards no matter how much you desire her. Think about this. How many times have you lowered your standards out of fear of losing her? How many times have you accepted behaviors you knew were wrong just to keep her close. Every time you do that, you lose a piece of respect. And when you lose respect, you lose everything. Because a woman can love you without respecting you, but she will never desire you. And without desire, the relationship is dead before it begins. The man who understands this sets boundaries from the beginning. He doesn't accept disrespect. He doesn't tolerate games. He doesn't chase when he should walk away. And if that means losing her, so be it, because the man who has options doesn't cling to just one. And here's the irony. When you have that mentality, when you're truly willing to lose her, that is when you're least likely to do so. Because that indifference, that ability to let go without drama, is what creates the strongest attraction. Most men have it backward. They believe that by showing constant interest, by being persistent, by demonstrating how much they care, they will win her over. But all they do is push her away. Because persistence without mystery is desperation. And desperation repels. The Machiavellian man doesn't persist. He disappears. He doesn't insist. He withdraws. And in that withdrawal, he creates the space needed for her to seek him. Now let's talk about communication. They told you to communicate your feelings, to be open, to express what you feel. A lie, or at least a half-truth. Yes, you should communicate, but not all the time and not about everything. Some things should remain unspoken. Some emotions shouldn't be verbalized, because when you verbalize everything, when you explain every detail, you lose the power of mystery. And without mystery, there is no intrigue. Without intrigue, there is no desire. The man who speaks less says more. His silences carry weight. His absences generate questions. And those questions keep the woman thinking about him. Because the human brain can't resist filling in the blanks. When you don't have all the information, your mind works overtime to complete it. And in that process, she idealizes you. She turns you into something greater than you really are. And that idealization is what keeps attraction alive. But when you speak too much, when you reveal every thought, every plan, every insecurity, you destroy that image. You bring her back to reality. And reality, without the filter of mystery, is rarely as attractive. That's why the intelligent man doses the information. He reveals enough to keep interest, but never everything. He always keeps something. He always holds a hidden card. And here's what's interesting. This isn't manipulation. It's simply understanding the game. Because relationships are a power game, even if no one wants to admit it. And in that game, the one who shows all his cards first loses. The one who becomes predictable bores. The one who is always available becomes invisible. It's cruel, but true. So what does the Machiavellian man do? He controls the pace. He doesn't reply immediately to every message. He isn't available every time she calls. He has his own life, his own plans, his own priorities, and that makes him valuable. Because people value what is scarce. And you, by always being available, have become abundant. And the abundant has no value. Learn to create scarcity. Not in an artificial way, but a real one. Build a life so interesting that you can't always be available. Build goals so important that she isn't always the priority. And when you're with her, yes, give her your full attention. But when you're not, disappear. Become a ghost. And that oscillation between intense presence and total absence is what creates addiction. Because addiction isn't created through consistency, it's created through intermittence. Casinos know this, social media knows this, and you should know it too. Intermittent reinforcement is the most powerful way to create dependence. When something is always there, we take it for granted. When something comes and goes, we chase it. It's basic psychology, but most people ignore it. And here's the crucial point. This isn't being bad. It's not being toxic. It's simply not being stupid. It's understanding that relationships function under certain psychological dynamics, and ignoring them condemns you to failure. You can complain that things should be different, that love should be pure, that these games shouldn't exist. But while you complain, another guy is applying these rules and winning. Machiavelli didn't write about how things should be. He wrote about how things are. And in relationships, the same applies. It doesn't matter how you think they should function. What matters is how they actually function. And the reality is that the woman who respects you is the one who never has you completely guaranteed. The one who knows that if she crosses certain lines, you walk away without looking back. The one who understands that you have options and that you chose to be with her, but that choice isn't permanent. This creates healthy tension, a constant competition, a desire to keep you interested. Because when she knows she has you guaranteed, she stops trying. She stops surprising you. She stops trying to impress you. And the relationship becomes monotonous. But when she knows that you can leave at any moment, she stays alert. She puts in effort. She worries about not losing you. And that, as cold as it sounds, is what keeps the spark alive. That's why you should never give yourself completely. Always keep a part of yourself reserved, not out of selfishness, but out of survival. Because the man who gives himself unconditionally is the man who ends up destroyed. Life will teach you this in the most painful way if you don't learn it now. And let's talk about vulnerability. They told you to be vulnerable, to share your fears, to cry if you need to. And yes, there are moments for that. But not all the time. And not with just anyone. Vulnerability without strength is weakness. And weakness doesn't generate respect. You can be vulnerable occasionally in specific moments when you've already established your value. But if you start by being vulnerable, if you show insecurity from the beginning, you lose before you start. The Machiavellian man shows vulnerability strategically, not because he's calculating every move, but because he understands that emotions have a time and place. He understands that revealing an insecurity can bring her closer, but only if he has already demonstrated his strength. Because the vulnerability of a strong man is moving. The vulnerability of a weak man is pathetic. So build your strength first. Show that you can be alone. Show that you have control over your life. Show that you don't need her to feel complete. And when you've established that, when she already respects you, then you can allow yourself some moments of vulnerability, but always in moderation, always in control. And here comes something that's going to hurt. You've probably been validating her too much. You've been telling her how beautiful she is, how special she is, how lucky you feel to have her. And every time you do it, you lose a little more power. Not because compliments are bad, but because frequency kills impact. When you say something constantly, it loses meaning. It becomes background noise. The man who understands this is selective with his words. He doesn't give compliments constantly. He doses them. He makes them matter. And when he gives them, they have weight. Because she knows he doesn't give them lightly. She knows she had to earn them. And that makes them 1,000 times more valuable than the constant compliments of the guy who doesn't know how to stay quiet. Learn to hold back. Learn to observe without commenting. Learn to appreciate without verbalizing. Because when you verbalize everything, when you express every positive thought you have about her, you're showing all your cards. And once she knows your cards, the game ends. Machiavelli said that the lion must learn from the fox, that strength without cunning is useless. And in relationships, this is key. It's not enough to be strong. You must be smart. You must know when to advance and when to retreat, when to speak and when to stay silent. when to be present and when to disappear. And most men fail at this because they act from emotion, not strategy. They fall in love and lose their heads. They become slaves to their feelings. And at that moment, they give away all their power, because the one who loves more loses. It's brutal, but it's true. In the power dynamics of a relationship, the one who needs less is the one who has more. That's why you should never love more than you're loved. Never try harder than she tries for you. Never give more than you receive. Not out of stinginess, but out of balance. Because when you give too much, when you try too hard, you create imbalance. And that imbalance creates contempt, because people unconsciously despise what comes too cheap. So value your time, value your attention, value your presence, and make her value them too. Not by being absent all the time, but by knowing when to withdraw, knowing when to say no, knowing when to prioritize other things. Because when she sees that you have a life beyond her, that you have goals, ambitions, purpose, she respects you. And that respect is the foundation of everything. Without respect, there is no attraction. You can have love, affection, tenderness, but without respect, all of that falls apart. And respect can't be begged for. It's earned. It's earned through actions, through boundaries, through the ability to walk away when something isn't right, through the strength to stand firm in your principles, no matter how much you desire her. And here's the final test. Are you willing to lose her to maintain your standards? If the answer is no, then you've already lost her. Because when you put someone above your principles, you lose your essence. You become what you think she wants, not who you truly are. And sooner or later she will notice. And when she does, she'll leave. Not because you're bad, but because you stopped being real. The Machiavellian man never sacrifices his essence. He can adapt, he can be flexible, but he never changes who he is at his core. Because he knows that the one who changes for someone ends up losing that someone and himself. A double loss, and the price is too high. So keep your identity, keep your boundaries, keep your mystery, and let her come to you. Because when you build a life so interesting that you don't need to chase, people chase you. That's the law. The man who doesn't need attracts. The man who needs repels. It's simple, but few understand it. And to finish, remember this. The game never ends. Even when you are in a relationship, the game continues. The day you become completely predictable, the day she feels she has you guaranteed, is the day the end begins. That's why you should always keep a little mystery, a little distance, a little uncertainty, not out of manipulation, but out of survival. Because love isn't maintained with pretty words, it's maintained with constant tension. And that tension only exists when there is a balance of power, when neither of you is completely sure of the other, when both know they have something to lose. Machiavelli understood power 500 years ago. And although he wrote about politics, his principles apply to everything, especially this. Because relationships are the oldest battlefield of humanity, and those who understand this win. Those who don't keep asking why they always end up alone. So, what do you do with this? Do you apply it? Or keep being the same guy who chases, who begs, who gives himself without conditions? Because here's the truth no one wants to tell you. The world doesn't reward the good. It rewards the intelligent. And being good without being intelligent is the quickest path to frustration. You can be the best man in the world, the most honest, the most loyal, the most dedicated. But if you don't understand power dynamics, if you don't understand how attraction really works, you will lose again and again. And every time you lose, you'll tell yourself that women don't know what they want, that they're confused, that they go after the wrong guys. But the reality is different. They know exactly what they want. The problem is that you're not offering it, because what they want isn't blind goodness. It's strength with moments of tenderness, not constant availability, but meaningful presence, not total transparency, but well-dosed mystery. And the man who offers this, the one who understands this balance, is the one who wins, not because he's a better person, but because he understands the game. And understanding the game doesn't make you manipulative, it makes you aware. It pulls you out of the naivety they sold you your whole life. Think about all the movies, songs, books you consumed. They all sold you the same lie. Chase the girl, prove your love, be persistent, and she'll choose you in the end. Nonsense. That works in fiction because writers need a happy ending. But in real life, persistence without attraction is harassment. Giving without reciprocity is desperation. And availability without mystery is boring. Life isn't a romantic comedy where the good guy wins in the end. Life is a psychological battlefield where the one who understands the rules has all the advantages. And the rules are these: keep your value high, your availability low, and your mystery intact. These three things combined create an unstoppable formula. Because when you have high value, she respects you. When you have low availability, she desires you. And when you have mystery, she chases you. It's emotional mathematics. And although it sounds cold, it's effective. Much more effective than all the well-intentioned advice given by people who probably don't understand how this works either. Now let's talk about something few people mention: the power of selective indifference. It's not about being indifferent to everything. It's about being indifferent to the things that don't matter, to the games, to the tests, to the unnecessary drama. When she tries to provoke you and you don't bite, when she creates a problem out of nothing and you simply withdraw instead of arguing, when she ignores you expecting a desperate reaction and you continue your life as if nothing happened, that's where you win. Because you're showing her that she doesn't control your emotions, that you're not a puppet dancing when she pulls the strings. And this is fundamental. The man who can be ignored without falling apart is the man who will never be ignored for long. Because when she sees that her indifference doesn't affect you, when she notices that you can move on without needing her, something changes. Power shifts. You're no longer the one waiting for her attention. She's the one wondering why you're not seeking her. And that question, that doubt, that uncertainty is what ignites desire. But to get there, you have to work on yourself. And I don't just mean going to the gym or making more money, though that helps. I mean building a life so complete, so interesting, so full of purpose that a woman is only an addition, not the center. Because when she is the center, when all your happiness depends on her presence, you become heavy. You become an emotional burden. And no one wants to carry someone else. Everyone wants someone who is already complete, someone who complements them but doesn't need them to function. So build your empire first. Build your goals, your passions, your purpose. And when she arrives, let it be to share that empire, not to become it. Because the day she becomes your reason for being is the day you begin to lose. Not because she's bad, but because no human being can bear the pressure of being someone else's entire source of happiness. It's too much weight. And sooner or later they will run from it. And here comes something that will sound controversial, but it's true. You need options, not to be unfaithful, not to deceive, but to maintain the right mindset. The man who knows he has options walks differently, talks differently, behaves differently. He doesn't beg because he knows that if this doesn't work out, there are others. And that confidence, that security is magnetic. Women feel it. You don't need to say it. Your energy transmits it, and that energy of abundance is infinitely more attractive than the energy of scarcity. The man who acts as if she were his only option becomes desperate. He accepts unacceptable behavior. He tolerates disrespect. He lowers his standards, all because he fears being alone. But the man who knows he has options maintains his boundaries. He doesn't tolerate the intolerable. And if she doesn't measure up, he simply leaves. No drama, no begging, no trying to convince her. He just leaves. And that ability to walk away, that emotional freedom, is what keeps her hooked. Because ironically, the moment you are most willing to lose her is the moment you are least likely to. It's a paradox, but it works. When you genuinely don't care whether she stays or leaves, when you're truly fine with any outcome, she feels it. And that detachment attracts her more than any desperate display of interest. Now, this doesn't mean being a jerk. It doesn't mean treating people badly or being cruel. It simply means not being an emotional slave. It means maintaining your dignity, even when everything in you wants to chase her. It means having enough control to walk away when you know you should, even if it hurts. Because the pain of walking away when necessary is temporary. The pain of staying in something toxic is eternal. And let's talk about something few mention: timing. Knowing when to move forward and when to pull back is an art. You can't always be absent, but you can't always be present either. You have to read the signals, understand the moment, calibrate the situation. When she seeks you, you can get a little closer, but never so much that she feels she has you. And when you notice that she is getting too comfortable, that she is taking your presence for granted, you withdraw again. That constant oscillation keeps the tension alive. It's like dancing. You move forward, you step back, you spin, you drift, you approach, always in motion, never static. Because static is boring, and boredom kills everything. Keep the dance active, keep uncertainty present, keep the spark alive. And that is only achieved through strategic distance. Machiavelli also talked about not showing your intentions until the last moment. And this applies perfectly here. Don't reveal what you feel too soon. Don't declare your love in the first week. Don't tell her she's the woman of your life when you barely know her. Because when you reveal your cards too early, you lose all the power of anticipation. She already knows how you feel. She already knows you put her on a pedestal. She already knows she won you. And in that moment, the game is over for her. There's nothing left to conquer. But when you keep your feelings ambiguous, when she is never completely sure where she stands with you, she has to keep working for your attention. She has to keep trying to impress you. She has to keep earning your affection. And that dynamic is what keeps the relationship alive. And now that we've made it this far, before we continue, I want to present the following to you. Our book, The Formula of Awakening, is now available. Do you feel like there's something inside you that wants to awaken, but you don't know where to start? Then I invite you to transform your way of thinking, and with it, your way of living. Discover who you can become. Start today. The link to get the ebook is in the first pinned comment of this video. Grab your copy now at a great price. With that said, let's continue with the video. Because effort creates appreciation. What costs you something, you value. What comes easily, you discard. So make her earn it. Don't give her your commitment, your exclusivity, your love, without her showing she deserves it. And I don't mean superficial things. I mean values, respect, reciprocity. If she isn't investing as much as you, withdraw. If she isn't giving you what you give her, walk away. Because unbalanced relationships always end badly. Always. And here's the final point, the one that sums everything up. The Machiavellian man is not the villain of the story. He's simply the one who understood that life doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards intelligent actions. He is the one who stopped living in romantic fantasy and started living in psychological reality. He is the one who accepted that relationships have rules, even if they're unspoken, and that ignoring those rules condemns you to failure. You can choose to keep being the good guy who ends up alone. Or you can choose to be the smart guy who understands the game and plays to win. The decision is yours. But don't complain about the results if you're not willing to change your strategy, because the world won't change to accommodate your ideals. Either you adapt, or you get left behind. And getting left behind in this means ending up alone, wondering why the same thing always happens. So the next time you feel the urge to chase, stop. The next time you want to send that desperate message, don't. The next time you're about to lower your standards out of fear of losing her, remember this. The man who values himself never begs for anyone's attention. And that man, the one who keeps his dignity even when it hurts, is the one who always wins in the end. And if you made it this far, let me tell you something. You're different. Most people left a long time ago, because the truth is uncomfortable. But you stayed, and that tells me you're ready for change. Now, this knowledge is useless if you keep it to yourself. There's someone in your circle who is making exactly the mistakes we just exposed. Someone who is chasing, begging, giving himself without measure. And he's going to end up shattered if no one opens his eyes. Share this with that person. Not as an attack, but as a lifeline. Because information that can change a life shouldn't stay locked away. And listen, this is just the beginning. If you want to keep decoding the rules of the game no one taught you, if you want more content that will remove the blindfold from your eyes, subscribe to the channel. Activate the bell, not to annoy you, but so you don't miss the next piece of the puzzle. Because what's coming is even deeper. We're going to dismantle everything you thought you knew about power, influence, relationships, the human mind. And let me know you heard me. Go to the comments and write exactly this. Distance is power. When I see it, I'll greet you personally, because I want to know who is truly committed to this transformation. Who is ready to stop being the guy everyone forgets and become the one no one can ignore. See you in the next one.